it's a great mission just to spend your life helping people. And really, that's the connection with my service in the legislature. Thankfully, Elaine came to see me, and I always sit down and say, teach me something, because I don't know everything, even though I'm 70 years old now. And the more I learn, the less I know. The one thing I do know is we have a lot of work to do on mental health. And you're part of that story, and you will help script the future. I'm a big believer in community-based care, that the great ideas come from the ground. They don't come from the top. And then as they begin to develop and learn how to communicate with that model, then you see public policy shift. And this is the path that I would like to see you be a part of, because your life experience with these attributes that you're going to discuss today could shape where we're going and what some of the right answers could be. Obviously, government's usually behind the 8 ball. Usually we're talking to people about what was instead of what will be. But it's up to you to communicate, put together, get together. I hope together you will form a vision of where mental health could go. I have a strong personal interest too, because my oldest son is a psychiatrist. And he practices in Ocala and at the Villages. And he has brought a lot of openness to my world to understand how much variation there really is. And I am a man of faith. The only reason I go to where I go is because God sent me. And my own sense of awareness of Christ in my life has shaped and given me a center point to go to when I'm confusing myself about what this life is about. And so my daily prayer is get up every morning and say, "You're God, I'm not, what are we doing?" And then wait expectantly for the next appointment that's going to come through my office or across my desk that will raise a new question. One thing that I'm very excited about, there's been a lot of progress that we're not very good about taking credit for progress. And one thing that's encouraged me is that more and more people are coming to me and saying, "You have no idea how much your son has changed my family's life." Because he is one of those that deals with the whole person concept. And he did an extra fellowship in geriatrics. So when you're 70, you like to have, now the problem is I have another one that was a deputy sheriff for 16 years and became a lawyer. So if you have 2 smart sons like that, and one's a psychiatrist and one's a police officer, you can get Baker acted pretty fast. So I'm always careful how I talk with them, but we have a very open family, and they're all still in the area, which means I got to do the funnest job in life, and that was to be granddad. I tell you those things so you realize we're not made out of anything different. We're just people trying to find the path with you at your side. And sometimes it takes longer than we appreciate. I will tell you that there is hope for change, and there are many reasons that's going to happen. I think the biggest one is the connection for some people with mental health issues back to trying to self-medicate with drugs. And we are in a biggest fentanyl war you've ever seen. This is deadly. And people are trying to treat whatever the disruption is in their life, and they walk into this arena, and all of a sudden it takes grip over their life. These are things that are killing people. Our fentanyl death, particularly in the 18 to 35 range, is off the charts. It is the biggest cause of death. That's directly tied back to mental health and wholeness as a person. That's why I will sit down and spend an hour listening to Elaine with some of her vision of how we could have some different pathways. I hope out of coming together, what will happen is you will really look outward and learn how to share what you know about some of these trails that could change how we're approaching wellness in the mental health arena. It's often looked at as the soft side, but one of the things that became very evident during Micah's training. He did an extra fellowship in geriatric illness, as I mentioned. And the key is what he revealed is what goes on with the brain. A lot of it has to do with the medications we take. And many times we're getting medications from several different sources, and we don't, and all the time pharmacology is changing. And we don't keep up with what the interrelationship of all these different medications is when they get in your body. So that's part of this story, is how do we fit the medical model and the mental health wellness model together in this picture of wholeness. That's a challenge that you can bring light and you can bring awareness to that could be very meaningful. And sometimes people just need time to recenter. Where do they go? How do they keep operating? How do they function during that time of transition in their lives? It may be finding their faith walk. It may be finding where all this came from and all the inputs to your life, family, faith, family, freedom, opportunity that is all around you and how that's interfacing with who you are. And I'm not trying to prescribe that for you because I'm on the same journey. And that's what you should realize too. Nobody has it all together. Everyone is on life's journey of finding their pathway and trying to fulfill that purpose for which they were placed on this earth. I think that can happen. But it starts here. It starts in community at the ground level. And that's what I hope will happen for you today, and as this idea progresses of how do we create such a place to reach out to people who need a place to recenter. So I thank you for letting me serve. I am trying to go back another term right now, so I'm working on campaigning and versus legislating are very different experiences, but isn't that the way life is? It's made up of all these different experiences. And it's not all going to fit together perfectly. And accepting that the world doesn't have to be perfect for you to be effective. That's an important discovery. And I hope that you not only find that in your own journey, but that you communicate that to other people. They don't have to be perfect. And it's not that some people are well and some people are sick. We're all in some transition with different approaches to our health, whether it's our brain or some other part of our body. So if we could just look more openly at that viewpoint and say, how do I travel from here? And sometimes you'll be like your senator. You'll be in that corner where you just get up and say, I don't know what to do about all this. I'm not an expert at everything. But you can listen to many people who have walked many trails, and they will bring light and ideas and solutions. I wish for all of you the opportunity to keep moving forward, wherever you are in your health transition, whatever part of your body is. And I pray that we would find a way to move the system to be more responsive to those needs and how to get there. There's huge implications in our society. I look at the expansion of crime. What makes a person do certain things versus another person? What is the role of family and history and abuse? These are all parts of that puzzle that make us who we are as individuals. My prayer for you is that you find that path and that you help other people find that path. And you don't all have to agree about everything to find some great solutions. Oftentimes, the bills we do are a mishmash of different viewpoints. You've got people from all over the world, all over the country that come before. They bring things. They bring good things. They bring challenging things. They're just people trying to find their way forward. And when you get refocused that it's not all about me, it's about how I'm applied to be useful in whatever way the Creator has designed me. And that He can use it, whatever it is. You can be an addition to someone's life because of your life experience. I think one of the greatest promises of Scripture is, I will be with you always. I will be with you always. The greatest promise is you're never alone. You think you're alone. You think you're the only one. You're not. Many people are on the journey. They need your help, and you need theirs. And to be an encourager and turning yourself around to where it's not all about me, but it's how I'm going to use even my faults, even my inadequacies, even my shortcomings, even my illness. How will I use it for good? How will I use it for good? For the benefit of others. There's a piece of that for you. And it's one of the most organizing, wonderful experiences to find that God's placed you in that spot. And you discover that you can be a part of what He's doing. Thank you for letting me come and share a few minutes with you and letting me learn. Elaine is a great teacher. She's opened a lot of doors for me and different windows of this arena of thought and how do we cope with it, how do we provide the right kind of help. And then communicate that to the people who serve you. Because pretty much what legislators do are not experts on any one area. What they do is hear from different people who touch this mass of an issue and try to figure out which of those pieces need to be changed and adjusted in how we touch the healthcare system. Healthcare and education are the two biggest expenditures we make of your money. And Florida is on a good track right now. I think we're stable, much more stable than much of the country and much of the world. But it's imperfect. We'll have a hurricane. But we're not going to worry our way there. We're going to prepare our way there. And that's the way we do with all the hurricanes of our life, is how do we best succeed under these present conditions and with the talents, skills, and knowledge that I do have, and how can I put them to work for someone else so that it's not about me? That's what kids really teach you. Dad was my favorite word till I heard granddad. In those 5 kids, we have 2 adopted children. The last 2. The big 3 guys, they're our natural children. But we did some foster found up. When we got Jeff, he was a victim of child shaken baby syndrome. This was a result in both brain damage that resulted in blindness and issues in trying to operate his brain. Baxley family. Because he showed me a whole. You can do that for people. He's now 35. When he started with us at 8 months of age, he looked like a 3-month-old. And he was a victim of our society. If you go back to that home, it's alcoholism, it's drug abuse, and we discovered Huntington's disease was in that family. It's an inherited disease. Jeff doesn't have it, but his little sister does, who is with us. Doctor called me one day. Well, actually, it was a judge. The judge called me that worked this case, and he said, look, the natural parents are out of prison. They've had another pregnancy. They're expecting a baby. Any day, a little girl. And we've examined this home, and there's just no way she would be safe there. How would you like to have a little girl? And so I saw Ginette's eyes brighten up as I'm having this phone conversation. I said, well, after 4 boys, it's about time we had a little girl around here. And Renee came to our lives. Jeff and Renee are siblings, and it helped keep some stability together for them to be adopted to the same home. They have another brother that we stay in touch with who's dying of Huntington's disease. He's much farther along. And Renee realizes that she has a terminal illness. She's 31 now. She's been with us since she was 6 days old. But you know what? We've accommodated the issues in her life and our life because we believe we all owe each other an opportunity to be the best we can be in whatever arena God places us. These kids taught me a lot and opened a lot of doors of policy windows that relate to damaged families, damaged children. We have 50% divorce rate now. Families are fragile in the modern society, and maybe always have been. But there's so many things we can do to make a difference. Mental health is very much related to the criminal justice system. Eventually, people that are not operating well are going to break a law, and they're going to wind up getting arrested, and they wind up in the criminal justice system. Some of you may have schizophrenic members of your family. I have some friends that have that. And I said, I didn't realize how every challenge they have is your challenge as their parent until I got a little farther along. But I can tell you, we can make a lot of difference in just the circle of people that touch our lives. We need to ask more questions and make fewer statements. And when we do see something, we need to share it, particularly if it's a solution. And sometimes it's going for the tiny thing. It's step by step. Since Jeff came out of high school, he has been working at Kenny's place. It's a nursery that grows plants. Everybody that works there, just about, there's like 10 or 12 people that work there that are all adult disabled, and as our society describes it. They have something that holds them up from being successful in the general population. He loves Kenny's place. He's learned everything about growing plants and selling plants, and he's very outgoing. He's learned to put that to work. And though he can't see with his eyes, he sees with his ears and his hands. There's still a lot to see without what we view as vision. He has vision. He doesn't do it the same way I do. And what I've learned from these kids is that everybody has something to contribute that's important. I want you to find that. I want you to get busy investing it in someone else. Believe in yourself and believe what a difference you can make in the people around you. We spend a lot of time thinking we're alone, when a lot of times we just need to say, you're God, I'm not. What are we doing? God bless you.